Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing the questions and solutions of a reading comprehension exercise from CAT 2020 slot 1. This is a passage on grammar and rules of grammar, and the author had advocated for why it is important to understand at least the basics and fundamentals of grammar if we want to write well. In an earlier video, we had discussed this passage in depth, how to read the passage, what information is supposed to be taken away from the passage after reading it. So let's go straight to the questions and let's try to see if we can solve them or not. So starting with question number one. One is a difficult question. Which one of the following quotes best captures the main concern of the passage? So we have to understand that primarily the author in this passage is actually trying to tell us that why we need to be aware of the fundamentals of grammar. If we want to write properly, we can use grammar very, very effectively. And that's why grammar needs to be understood. People can break grammar, but only those people who understand grammar in depth can break grammar, which means that the author is advocating everyone to learn grammar. And if we don't understand this is the primary intent of the author behind writing this passage, then it's very difficult to figure out what is the correct answer and what is not for this particular question. Like, for example, option A says nouns and verbs are two indispensable parts of writing. Without one of each, no group of words can be a sentence. Although the author is not consistently saying this, the author does say that sometimes we can have fragments which are not complete sentences without nouns and verbs being present, and people do write that. And that's not entirely a wrong thing to do. Grammar police are not going to catch us. But nouns and verbs make appearance again and again inside the passage. In fact, till the last paragraph, the author is saying that how nouns and verbs can be put together to form a very simple sentence. So that's why A can be confusing. But now that we know that the author is not only talking about the fact that nouns and verbs have to be used to complete a sentence, that's why we can eliminate it. B says Frank and White caution against too many simple sentences in a row, but simple sentences provide a path you can follow when you fear getting lost in the tangles of rhetoric. Oftentimes, people mark B as the correct answer for this question because we tend to place the primary concern of the passage towards the end of the passage. We tend to remember whatever is written at the end of the passage, and that tends to stick in our memory. And B is being talked about towards the end of the passage. But the entire passage is not about writing simple sentences. So the author is only advocating for this when we are not very sure of what the rules of grammar are, and when we get tangled too much into complicated grammatical rules and rhetorics. So let's say B is not the concern of the entire passage, so B should be eliminated. Among C and D, I think C is a very, very viable answer. But only reason why it is not is because D has the word grammar in it. The passage is about grammar, and that's what makes D the most correct answer. And apart from this, I cannot think of any other reason to prove that D is more correct than A, B, or C. So if we define the main topic and the primary purpose of this entire passage, it's about grammar. The author is wanting to tell us about the importance of grammar. And that's why D is the correct answer. And if we don't actually iterate that to ourselves, I believe that A, B, and C all can be really confusing. And it's a very difficult question, even to eliminate the wrong options, because the wrong options are not absolutely wrong. So one is a diabolically difficult question. Coming to question 2. 2 says which one of the following statements, if false, could be seen as supporting the arguments in the passage. So question has to be read very carefully. It's not an easy question to understand. We have to take the option. We have to see that if it is false, does it support the passage? So like that, we have to read every single option. So looking at option A, says an understanding of grammar helps a writer decide if she or he is writing well or not. This is actually supporting the arguments in the passage when it's true. This directly option is supporting the argument in the passage, so A can be eliminated. B says, perish the thought that complete sentences necessarily need nouns and verbs. False of this, Will, is that do not perish the thought that complete sentences necessarily need nouns and verbs. And that's a point that the author is making towards the end of the passage in the last paragraph and slightly before that as well, that when in doubt, you put nouns and verbs together, you will get a complete sentence. And the author is giving multiple examples of this as well. So B seems like the answer. In fact, perish the thought is mentioned in one part of the passage where the author is saying that must you write in the beginning of the third paragraph, must you write complete sentences each time, every time? Perish the thought. So the author is only asking us to perish the thought that we don't have to write complete sentences all the time. But for complete sentences, nouns and verbs are required is being said by the author. So the author is not asking us to perish that thought. That's why B can be the correct answer. But let's read C. C says it has been observed that writers sometimes disregard the rules of rhetoric. It is true. It is directly true. Given in the passage. That's why C is not the correct answer. Because if it's false, it's opposite of whatever the passage is saying. And D says regarding grammar, women writers tend to be more attentive to method and accuracy. This can be a very tempting option to mark as the correct answer. because the author is not making any gender-based points inside the passage. So people have marked D as the answer, despite that D is not the correct answer because if it is false, that no, women writers do not tend to be more attentive to method and accuracy. Even that's not given in the passage. So true is also not given in the passage. False is also not given in the passage. And that's why D is not the correct answer. That's why B is the correct answer. So confusion between B and D is valid. More than that, understanding the question and executing a thought in order to find an option that is going to answer the question is important. It's difficult. So 2 is a challenging question, not as diabolically difficult as question number 1, at least in my opinion, but still difficult nonetheless. It requires thought. It requires analysis and grasp of the question and considering the faults of the options in C, which is supporting the passage and which is not. So 2 is also moderately difficult question, but solvable. Coming to question 3. 3 says all of the following statements can be inferred from the passage except. I think this is the easiest question among the 5 of this particular exercise. Probably another case can be made for question number 5, but 3 is pretty simple. A says subject predicate relation is the same as noun-verb relation given inside the passage. So it is not going to be the correct answer. B says the primary purpose of grammar is to ensure that sentences remain simple. That is not what the author is saying. The author is saying that you can follow grammar rules and write simple sentences. But following grammar rules, you can also write tougher sentences, more complex sentences. That's why B is the correct answer. C says sentences do not always have to be complete. Again, given in the passage directly. Grammar police is a metaphor for critics who focus on linguistic rules. This is what the author is saying, that when you break linguistic rules, are the grammar police come and arrest you? No, they are not going to be against you that much. Sometimes you're permitted to break rules of grammar. See, as grammar police, by that particular phrase, the author is referring to those people who are sticklers for grammatical rules, but even they don't arrest people who break linguistic rules. And yes, so that's why grammar police is a physical description of an abstract quality that people have, that they are critics of people who don't write grammatically correctly. So D is also given in the passage. So B is a correct answer. And it's an easy question because it's very easy to pick up among the options which is most false according to the passage. So B is most false. That's why B is the answer. 4 is a nonsense question. I don't agree with the way that this question has been phrased. And I'll tell you why. Because they have given this entire bit of text from the passage, take any noun, put it with any verb, and you have a sentence. It never fails. Rocks explode, Jane transmits, mountains float. Then the question says, none of the following statements can be seen as similar except. Similar to what? Similar to the entire thing? Similar to each of these examples? Or similar to the first sentence only? The question doesn't specify that. And that's a very big problem with this question. Why does it give so many sentences to say that which statement is similar to the one above? And I had this problem. I had taken this paper. This was my slot in CAT 2020. And I could not understand that are they asking me to look for an option which is similar to the examples or similar to the first sentence. And when reading the options only, I from the options actually figured out that they're looking for a sentence that is similar to the first sentence, not similar to the examples. Because initially, I was looking for statements that are similar to the examples, which has got one noun, one verb. And I could not find sentences like that. So I don't know why they gave the rest of the sentences from it never fails, rocks explode, Jane transmits, mountains float. There is no need of stating those sentences in the question. That's what makes this question nonsensical. They are only asking us that which of the options is similar to the first sentence among this collection. So first sentence is take any noun, put it with any verb, you have a sentence. So you take something, you put something with it, you have something else. And if I look at the options, that's why answer becomes option D. Take any vegetable, put some spices in it, you have a dish. I can understand a bit of confusion with option B, even if you understand the question, because take an apple tree. But then you take an apple tree, you don't add something to it. You're planting the apple tree in a field. So had it said that take a field, plant an apple tree in it, you have an orchard, then B would have been a very similar kind of a sentence. But D is directly following the structure that you take something, you put something in it, you have something new. That's why D is the correct answer. But otherwise, nonsensical question, very bad way of forming the question. And I feel that IIM Indore was sadistic in setting a question like this, where you have to figure out, after looking at the options, what the question can be about. These kind of questions should not appear in the CAT paper. And I think paper setters need to do a much better job because this is not testing any kind of skills on the part of the students. Last question of this exercise, kind of doable. Inferring from the passage, the author could be most supportive of which one of the following practices. So the author is actually advocating for the rules of grammar. If you understand the primary purpose, there's only one option which can be the correct answer, which is that availability of language software that will standardize the rules of grammar as an aid to writers. So yes, the author wants people to be able to learn the basics of grammar. This is not about creative writing and understanding rhetoric. This is not a critique of standardization rules. The author is in fact supporting standardization rules. And this is definitely not the author supporting people taking creative liberties. The author is saying that people do take creative liberties, and the author is in fact saying everyone should not take creative liberties. Only people who understand the rules of grammar should be taking creative liberties. That's why C is not the correct answer. So this is a simple question. Among the 5 questions, I think questions 3 and 5, people should get correct. Even 5 is a bit of a difficult question if we don't understand the primary purpose of what the passage is about, which I've discussed in the reading of the passage video, that understanding the fact that the author is on the side of learning grammar in itself can be a bit complex. So that's why even 5 becomes a bit difficult if you have not read the passage and understood it properly. And that makes this one of the toughest reading comprehension exercises in these last 5 years of CAT's existence, for sure. I believe that a person who is relying on reading comprehensions for a good score can get 3 out of 5 questions correct. And that's a good performance in this particular paper. I think in this particular exercise, I think question 1 and 4 are absolutely difficult. 2 is also kind of difficult. Anything greater than 3 correct is an excellent performance. People who are not that strong with reading comprehensions, even a 2 out of 5 performance is an acceptable performance in this exercise. Thank you.